Picture a founder you know. It might be you. Sales are climbing, which is a great news story. Maybe your brand has really great momentum, and yet every month you're keeping an eye on your bank and wondering where your cash actually went. Here's where a big chunk of it often ends up on the shelf. Yes, that's right, on your shelf and in your inventory. So when a big brand gets on an earnings call and talks about an inventory position improvement of over 10% over prior year, that's exciting news. Target COO Lisa Roth told analysts that inventory turns were up more than 10% year over year. Now, when people hear inventory returns, they automatically file that to supply chain. A warehouse number, even though it's a great news story, might get kind of filed in the back of the brain as something to worry about. But as a founder, that's where your cash is. And it's one of the few levers that you have today. Because it's not just about your warehouse, it's about your cash. And it's one of the few levers that founders can pull without raising a dollar. Hi, I'm Sarah Wilson, fractional COO and operational turnaround partner for SMB. I help businesses struggling through complexity and challenges within their operational core. I work with founders to install scalable, repeatable processes to unlock the ability to grow with the teams and tools they already have.
And hi, I'm Penny Cook. I'm also a fractional COO and a strategic operations consultant. I help product and consumer brands install, upgrade, and run scalable operations and operational systems that reflect the founder's unique vision and ambition. Sarah, I love this topic. Let's get into it. Your inventory and the way you hold it can change everything about the cash flow in your company, and that means your opportunity to operate in the world. It could mean more money for marketing. It could mean your ability to make payroll. It could mean the ability to bring on that one more employee who's going to be key to moving you to that next level. That's how important this is. And you need to know what you are looking at when you walk through your warehouse, your stockroom, and look at the money that you have on your shelves. So the first key that we really want to talk about here is that turns are a cash story, not a stockroom story. And you can't make good decisions about whether your stockroom is healthy or not, just looking at it. You need to understand velocity in order to understand where your cash is tied up and if it is in the right place. So let's start here by defining the thing plainly, because jargon, I think, does hide how important this is. Inventory turns measure how fast you convert product into sales, into cash, and then do it again, right? This is a continuum in your business. High turns means you're running the same revenue on less cash tied up in stock, because that go around is going very fast. You're making product, you're not holding it very long, you're selling it, you're converting it into cash, and you're able to take that cash and build more product. Your money, if it's low turns, mean the opposite. Money is sitting still, waiting. And when that money is stagnant, it's tied up, it's doing nothing for your business.
Absolutely. No, I love how you outlined that, Penny. That was really great. That brings us, of course, to another key to think about. I referenced Target at the start of the episode here, and I would, it's easy to think kind of automatically when a $100 billion retailer posts a number, like a large number of 10% like they did, that it's not something that a small to medium business can replicate. And I would argue and say that actually your size of business is really the advantage here. As a small to medium business, one has more agility than a larger organization. When we think about rolling something out in a large organization like Target, those are, big, could be even multi-year endeavors that involve all different departments, reorganization, huge project teams, a lot of technology, and just really complex. Whereas as a small to medium sized business, and leveraging the inventory and freeing up the cash that you need is actually quite something you can implement quickly and keep an eye on closely and shift strategy midway through if need be. So size is absolutely the advantage here and definitely your edge.
Yeah, it's such a good point that you need to think about size, where you sit in all of that, build custom rules, because one size does not fit all when it comes to building rules around your inventory and where you're tying up cash. And this goes from size of company, a big company, their rule sets are going to be really different than a small company who has maybe a smaller cash reserve. It's going to vary by how big your product catalog is. And you're going to want to look at this on a SKU by SKU level, because you may have some SKUs that are very pricey but high velocity movers that you can afford to keep a lot of on the shelf because turn is high. You may also have some that are very slow movers that you need to keep in your catalog for strategic reasons, and you want to be really careful about how much money you're tying up keeping lots of inventory on the shelf on that SKU by SKU basis.
Yeah, I really like that call out, Penny. It's important to have that visibility to the entire SKU breadth of your catalog and ensure you're not making the wrong decision for an individual SKU for the reasons you mentioned. And that all of that ties into being able to be responsive at the size that you are, and definitely ensuring that being smaller medium business actually gives you the edge here.
Right. It gives you the edge in insight, in being able to understand where you are, and being able to get your hands around a very detailed program to manage all of that cash, which leads us into our third key here, which is own the number, don't delegate it, don't forget it. This is where it stops being conceptual and starts becoming something that you run in your business. The whole thing comes down to one idea. Own the number, don't hand it off, don't hope. Really look at your reality. Start with where you really have product on the shelves. Put inventory turns on your dashboard. Look at where they are. Be brutally honest with yourself. You may have a favorite SKU in your lineup that you think should be selling in a certain way, and you may have a feeling about where you want the turns on that item to be, and that may or may not match with reality. Take those feelings out of it. Look at where your real dollars are tied up and manage toward the rule set that you want. We only want a percentage of turns in cash on our shelves at any given time. Are we inside our guidelines? Are we outside of our guidelines?
I like the piece about taking the emotion out of it. It's important to understand that your business shifts over time, and while you're the expert in your own business, that things can move over time. So that favored SKU, for example, maybe isn't as favored as it once was. Maybe the external market conditions have changed. So it's really important to keep that piece data informed, if you will, when making those key decisions.
Yeah, and to inspire yourself to get out of kind of your own way in managing that, take a walk through your warehouse. Take a walk through your stockroom. Look at what boxes have been sitting there for a long time and do the math in your head about how much money is on your shelves. How much money that you manufactured a week ago, a month ago, 2 months ago is still sitting there and slow turning. And think about what else you could be doing to activate that capital in your business. And that will help act as a catalyst to make the decisions to invest only in the stock that you need and free up that cash to run your business elsewhere.
Exactly. And also ensure, we really recommend in this case to not only have this item on your dashboard, but ensure that you've got an owner for that number. It's something as the leader that you want to keep, of course, your eyes on. Also, get someone on your team to just be the one that number is their priority as well, so that we build really good practices around keeping it top of mind and something that we are continuing to optimize.
Yeah, for sure. And Sarah, you and I are both people who have had to have a lot of conversations with CEOs about these programs and how decisions are made. And this is part of owning the number. As the COO, as an ops leader in a business, you need to be really familiar with what these numbers look like and how these decisions get made. And you need to teach your CEO this methodology and how you're thinking about it and why this is so important for the business. Pair up with your CFO, with your financial leaders, and make sure that you are in lockstep about how much money is tied up in inventory and why. So it's not just a number on a spreadsheet, but there's a narrative about, hey, this is seasonal. and all of our, hey, it's coming up on Black Friday and all of our Christmas tree decorations have been sitting on the shelf, but we know there's going to be a rush for them. So we're going to invest a whole bunch more money because in 6 weeks, they're all going to sell through.
Yes.
Right? Like understand the narrative, because if you just look at numbers on a spreadsheet, it's not going to give you those insights to make the right decision for the business to both free up the right cash you need to run the business and also generate the cash you need to buy that next stock of inventory.
Exactly. So let's tie it together. 3 things to walk away with. 1, inventory turns aren't just for the stockroom, they're a cash story. And the money that you're looking for is often already on the shelf. 2, it's the coordination that drives those turns and using your size to your advantage. And finally, ensuring that there's someone to own that number and that you are completely 100% aligned with your COO on what that number is made up of and the narrative behind that story. So the cash didn't disappear, it's just sitting in inventory. And the turns are the key for you to get it back. Again, not a supply chain issue, but a funding source that you already own. If this is something that you're challenged with in your business, please don't hesitate to reach out to Penny or myself on LinkedIn or go to our website at operating-on-purpose.com. If today's conversation sparks something for you, subscribe so you never miss an episode. Because great businesses don't just happen, they operate on purpose.
Indeed.
Thanks so much, Penny.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks for
See you next
listening.
time.
See you next time.